Hey guys, how are you today on this special day, Thursday? We're having a new episode of MarkTalk, and I am very excited to talk to you guys today for a day that means a lot to me in so many different ways. So for those that don't know, this is gonna not be the lightest episode. I'm just gonna try to keep this as truthful and honest as possible for myself and for everyone, because otherwise, then why am I doing this? It would just be a disservice, and that's not really what I am here for. I am a suicide attempt survivor. I'm very open about that. That's a thing that I will openly talk about all the time because I feel like unfortunately there's a unfortunate stigmatism for that. And 5 years ago today, I tried to kill myself. I came very, very close to doing that, and I'm happy I didn't. That's the best way to put that. I almost threw myself in front of a train um, during the rush hour in 49th Street train station in Manhattan, and I did not. I've been an advocate about talking about all this stuff for about 6 months after the attempt. Um, Although some people have actually told me it was not an attempt, there was a very strong consideration of trying to kill myself, and that was not the thing you want to hear when you're not mentally sound. Um, but I have talked about this a couple times on stage. I'm gonna just give a little background about my life, and the best way to do that is from my solo show, my first solo show about this, which I'm gonna show you a clip from right now, called "Divorce Combination." Let's see, am I on where I want to be? There we go. All right, yeah, this was done in 2016, less than a year, a little under a year after the incident, and I'm just gonna play like a minute or so of this. I just learned that there's no audio happening, and that's my fault. Give me one quick second. Uh, yeah, I love when you do a test run of things and you kind of fuck up. It's hard to do this live. I'm going to fix that right now. I'm so sorry, guys. Um, all right, so we are going to show the screen one more time with the audio this time. Thank you guys for pointing this out in the chat. Again, we're going to do this again. I thank you guys so much for watching this.
More than happy to accept that. Two drinks. Let's get things started. Okay, so my whole life I've always been like a weird, anxious person. I've always been that person. I've always figured that if I act crazy and weird, then people will never realize that I'm doing bad or whatever. And it works out pretty well. So in the summer of 2001, I had a pretty rough summer. There were a few people that were close to me that passed away, including a grandparent. And then 9/11 happened, and I realized I was not doing good. So I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and that's in that September, a week after 9/11 or so. And I was on Paxil and Xanax from 2001 till August 2000, which means the rest of high school, all of college, and a little bit of when I moved to New York. It always helped me. It was always a low dosage too, which is very important to know. So that way I wouldn't get addicted to the actual drug. And I've had a lot of issues with anxiety as a person. When I go to the ER a couple times, I was having a heart attack, all this crazy stuff. But like as I grew older, I learned that if I talk to myself like quietly, like not vocally, I can actually keep things okay. So like, Mark, you're okay. You have an anxiety attack. Mark, you'll be fine in 15 minutes. Mark, breathe. And this always works. So like, that's good to know. I mean, it's very important to know for later in the story. So In September last year.
All right, there's a lot more to that. There's like a 12-minute long play about the whole story, and I wanted to give my backstory about my anxiety and my depression. And I'm going to actually just copy the link right now into the chat so you guys can actually watch the full play, which I take a lot of pride in. But yeah, so my backstory, the most important parts of it for what happened to me was I was doing a Trader Joe's and I hurt my back, and I went to City MD to get medicine, and I was given Roboxin, which is a pill that's a painkiller to make me feel better, and it actually did okay. I had to end up going to a chiropractor, which I actually do still see my chiropractor, but and long story short, I would take my pill every day, like twice a day, follow the prescription to the T, and I found myself getting sadder and sadder and sadder until like a whole series of small things happened, and I found myself literally I said bye to my parents and everything, and it was literally the most horrifying 5 minutes of my life, and I couldn't jump. Like the train literally was like that far away from me when the whole thing happened. And like it was so fucking scary, you know? And I always talk about this, that right after the attempt, Jesus Christ, I'm fucking crying right now. So like right after the attempt, I found myself going to an improv jam where this is actually pretty funny if you know like the weird irony of my life. I did an improv scene where I endowed my character as sad and depressed, and then I went to go see. I got lucky and was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go see a play because I need to cheer myself up." And theater always makes me happy. And I went to TKTS and I saw that they had Fun Home on sale. And if you don't know anything about Fun Home, it is a play where one of the main characters commits suicide. He walks into traffic and kills himself. And I remember I get home from the play and I told my roommates what happened. And I'll never forget, they were like, "If you needed anything ever, let us know." And when this whole thing happened, I didn't know what I needed and what I didn't need because like my brain was so cloudy from the medicine, and like it's one of the reasons why I advocate and started talking about this so shortly afterwards. Like once I processed everything and the emotions and how I felt that day and what I never want to feel again, it's part of the reason why I always am open about the fact that I'm a person that suffers from depression. Suffers is not the right word, but it has depression. Because one of the things about me that people see is they see a happy, big, bubbly dude. And I am that. But there's also a multi-layered, faceted person where I'm more than just a happy dude. I'm a person that has depression. I'm a person that has had years of sadness in their life, not just from like the way the brain talks to them. And that's okay. Like I'm not broken or anything. Nobody's like actually broken or anything. It's that weird thing of like we're all fucked up together, you know. We all have our thing. And I'm looking back on this 5 years later. 5 years. Like another weird thing is I didn't even know that World Suicide Prevention Day was a thing until like 2 years after my attempt. That's real. Like and it started in 2003. I was doing some research on the actual day, and learning that was kind of funny. Like I'm like, oh, I'm that guy. I am that guy that tried to kill himself on that day, which is not funny, but it's also that weird thing of like, okay, all right. Basically, why I went live today is for a couple reasons. One of them, even though this year has been like the hardest year of my entire life by far, like the support system that I have between friends, family, relationships is so strong. It's so strong. Like it's incredible. Like I'm so fucking lucky. Like if I didn't find the sequester community like while this whole pandemic is happening, I don't know what would happen. Like that's just true. Like if you saw me like in April or March, you saw someone that was just on the brink of going crazy between their plans basically just going out the window for the year and just like not knowing how to handle this newfound world. Um, which is a lot. Like it's a lot. Um, and it's not easy. Nothing is fucking easy right now because this is just the world that we're living in right now, where nothing is easy, and that's okay. Um, one of the weirdest things about my memory involving this is the fact that even though this is now 5 years ago, like I'm 5 years in the future. I mean, you saw how different I looked in the video compared to now, and that was just 4 years ago. Uh, how how fresh it feels and how like as much as it hurts to talk about this, I know I need to because I am not the typical face of someone that has depression that has tried to kill themselves. Yeah, and a reason why I share the video of that performance is because as soon as I was able to talk about this, I knew I needed to. Like I know that there are people like me out in the world that are depressed, that that look happy, and that's okay. But like, if I can help someone, that matters the most to me. Um, and on today, the 17th year of World Suicide Prevention Day, it felt very important to me to go live. This is my 50th anniversary of my attempt, and also 17 years with this holiday. And I mean, it's weird to call it a holiday, but I want to talk about some resources that people can use if they need to. Um, so I'm going to start off with. Oh, that's a good question. So the as I said, the medication was always Roboxin, and what it did was it made my back feel a little bit better, but it started making my head just a little bit cloudy, like just a little bit cloudier every time I took it, until like I couldn't. I had like I remember I talked about this in the worst combination if you watch it, but I remember I was eating food on that day, and I was eating pad thai, which is like one of my favorite foods, and it just felt I had like no taste for it. Like everything was just cloudy. Like my mouth was cloudy, my head was cloudy, everything was just cloudy, and that was the scariest thing ever because a small series of small things that wouldn't affect anyone in a normal way affected me in a bad way. And like I said, I never like did anything but the dosage of 2 pills a day, one in the morning, one at night, always with food. And I remember being so happy on that morning when I took the last pill. I'm like, cool, I'll feel better soon. This was like this wasn't like me being like, okay, like I knew something was wrong with the pill, but I still was taking it because my back wasn't hurting as much. And I was seeing the chiropractor, and things were getting a little bit better. And I knew that like I'm like, cool, okay, something's gonna happen and it's gonna be good. Like and like I'll feel better in the morning no matter what. And I remember distinctly like how lost I felt when those small little things happened that put me over the edge. I couldn't stop crying. I called my parents, and all I could say was thank you. Like I just could not stop saying the phrase thank you. And then I hung up the phone, and I I just feel so bad that my parents had to deal with stuff like that. Um, like that because I'm an only child. I know my parents' life, like they're the best, and I've always felt so terrible about that, like about how what almost happened that day. And I'm just so thankful to have a really good support system. And I'm happy that like nothing worse happened. Like this could have gone really bad, like really fucking bad. And yeah, um, I'm really, really fortunate. Like my life, I was also a person that was like scared to take real risks in my life until then. That's real. Um, my life started getting better as I decided that I can actually live my life. I was 30 years old, depressed. A lot of life's opportunities that were supposed to happen never happened to me yet at that point in my life. And I distinctly remember being like, I need to do things like travel, find relationships, find things that make me happy, like like push myself, like really push myself, like in a smart way. And like I don't take days for granted now. Like that's a really important thing to me. Like I'm one of those people that I always rather take a good big risk than not, um, and live with my heart on my sleeve and be open to whatever the world gives. And it's I can't stop fucking crying. You think this happened like the other day, but it's still fresh, even though it's 5 years old. Like if this didn't happen, I wouldn't be this person. I'd still be very nice and stuff. I'd probably be a little bit more awkward. I used to be really awkward. I still am very awkward, but there are things that happen that make it less awkward. Um, I feel like I'm just rambling. Okay, where was I before my dad brought up the medicine? So I wanted to bring these up. You see me scrolling with the important resources, and they are very, very important resources. But I want to talk a little bit more about them. This is like the biggest one, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 800-273-8255. All these are all 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, great organizations that, and this is like the big one. I've raised money for them on my birthday for the last 2 years on Facebook. And I never, what really blows my mind about my situation personally is that my situation all happened so fast I had no chance to call anything at all. Like it just happened that fast. Um, yeah, it's that weird thing of like I called my parents and I was gonna do it. For my friends in the LGBTQ community, the Trevor Lifeline can be reached at 866-488-7386. The Trevor Project, for those that don't know, is an amazing organization that helps with the LGBTQ plus community and does really amazing, wonderful things. This is one I never heard of until today, but I think it's pretty darn cool. If you can't talk to, like, if you actually can't talk, this right here, the crisis text line, you're gonna 741-741. You text it, and then like at first, like it's gonna ask you some automated questions, and then like within like 5 minutes, someone will talk to you through text, and I think that's an amazing asset. Like, yeah, this organization is the one for New York City. It's the Samaritans of New York. 24 hours a day, amazing organization. I've donated hundreds of dollars of my own personal money to them. 212-673-3000. I know they're having a TED Talk situation today, and they're just really incredible at what they do. Um, Also, if you ever need anyone to talk to, I'm always here. I've been to some dark places. I don't show them too easily, but I'm one of those people that I'm not afraid to talk about this. I mean, I've been talking about this for like 4.5 years now, and I don't judge, and I won't judge. I'm not a professional, but I can tell you this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, that people care. I know if you're someone I know, I care about you. Um, Also, what my friend Brandy is saying, yeah, um, like these organizations, they do such amazing, wonderful things, and it's so important that like if you feel like you need help and you're able to like get the help, people care about you, and this world is better with you in it than not. If it means like changing shit up for you, then do it. If it means whatever, just do it. But like know that you matter. My life has gotten so much better since 2015. I can't even express it. Like the level of actual true happiness in my life is so absurd. Like, and also like part of what I do, what I want to do is end the stigmatism that happens involving this stuff. Um, yeah, because if people can't talk about it, they can't get help. We're in a fucking pandemic right now. The suicide rate increases every year, and if you ever need anyone to reach out to, I am here. I promise you guys, and I do mean this from out of my heart, I am good right now. I know I'm crying a lot today. More on this podcast than usual. I mean, tomorrow probably will be a normal day. I probably won't cry in the pant steel unless something horrifying happens, but that's jokes. I make jokes. That's what I do. Uh, but I'd rather be open with my life experiences than closed off because a shared life is better than not a shared life. I'm going to just see if there's any more comments in the Facebook feed of this. I don't see anything, but that's okay. Um, I just want to say thank you guys for watching today. Um, this it's always a lot when I talk about this, but I'm okay talking about this because I'm an advocate for talking about this, and you do. I thank you guys so much for tuning in, and of course, you know, if you want to follow me, tweet at me at MarkTalk85. I don't sleep. I mean, I sleep by like weird hours. And if you just thank you. Thank you for watching. You mean a lot to me, and you mean a lot to your friends. And if you're someone that I know or want to know, I can't wait to hug you with your permission after all this bullshit's over. But you matter to me, and I thank you so much. Let's see, there's a little comment before I turn off. Yeah. And of course, yeah, check in with doctors about pills involving that can affect your mental health because it affected me and it can get very, very scary, very, very fast. Again, I love you. You're important to me. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.